Alright, something else we need to check out is component pricing. So if we go over to Estimate Items, you'll see there's different tabs down below Estimate Items. One of them is Components. Right now we have selected the bedroom, and you'll see only the items from the bedroom in the Components list. And if you want to see all of them, it makes it a little bit easier, especially if you're changing any pricing. You can click on the top one with your Shift button and select all the rooms. That's going to bring in all the items from the whole estimate at this point. That's going to show you what you have for equipment, and you have an opportunity to change the pricing on it. Now, in most cases, these are going to be owned items. They're not going to be changed. All right. However, you got materials here. All right. So you have $3,046.15 in materials, and here are the items that it has calculated. Gypsum board. That calculated that much per square foot. This is how much it's calculating. This is how much is calculated per square foot. You have a total of $59.17 for drywall. Okay? Calculating your corner bead, joint tape, your screws, everything you're going to need. Now, carpet allowance, here's something where you need to pay really close attention. If you're using a standardized pricing for mid-grade or low-grade, whatever, for carpeting, and it's giving you $2.02, great. But if you're doing an NFIP or that's coming from a national lab that's giving you an exact price based on an analysis, okay, then you need to change this pricing in here. Or say you're trying to replace with the exact same carpet. You know, we did a job that was just replaced 6 months ago. We're doing the exact same carpet, so we're getting a price instead of from the lab. We're getting a price from the place that they purchased the carpet before and replacing it. So we're going to take and change this price in here from 2.027 to 2.35. Hit enter and it changes your price. Do you want to change it in your price list components to match? That's going to change it in your price list itself. Now, it doesn't give you this option if you're using a price list from Xactimate. You have to change the pricing, and we're going to go to that in just a minute. But do you want to change it to the price list? No, I'm not going to change it because that's going to be pretty standard for that price, but for this particular job, it's changing. Now it's going to turn it green. You see how it's turned it green? It changed the price in here. Also going to change the tax amount because, of course, it changed the price on it. All right. Now the other items that are calculated with that are going to be things like tack strip, seam tape. Those aren't going to change. They're going to be standard pricing, but it's calculating how much you're going to need based on per square foot pricing. All right. Got here vinyl floor allowance, $1.75. If it's reasonable, leave it. But if you need to change it, change it. Here's the other thing. Check on how much it's ordering. If you're at 77.87, and say that bathroom, because of the size, let's head over there real quick and look at it. Size is 6'2" by 8'10". Now, very likely, you're going to have to order a 12-foot roll of sheet goods, and you're going to have to order it 9 feet, or 6 feet long, plus some waste. So you have to order from this wall to this wall at 6'2", plus some waste. So say we have to order at 6'6". Okay, so 6.5 feet times 12 feet because you roll it out this direction. Okay, so 12 times 6.5, 78 feet. Back over to our estimate items, components. We got everything highlighted here. No, might not have everything highlighted. Got our shift bar. Select everything again. There we go. Vinyl floor allowance 77.87, and we needed 78 feet. It's calculating based on a 12-foot roll what we're going to need, including waste. That's so much better. I'll show you the other way of estimating it in just a second, how it would have estimated if you had not put it in from sketch. Okay, you would have added, what, 15% waste? May not have been as good. Down through here, you've got enough waste in here, you've got enough pricing. Here's something you want to pay attention to. Gallon of floor adhesive. Depending on what kind of floor adhesive that particular type of vinyl needs, $12 a gallon is not enough. It's also only factoring a half a gallon, 0.52. What you're going to have to do is check on the pricing of it. In this particular case, that might be enough. If you have a different case, like some vinyls are requiring adhesive that's $49 a gallon and it's full spread. It's not calculating enough. You're going to have to change that yourself and add it in here. Floor patching compound, this green, watch your pricing on paint. That seems to be something that changes quite frequently, especially if you get a storm, something like that. Alright? Assuming that the rest of this is all good, let's go in here and let me just show you what it would do if you calculate the bathroom from sketch here. Okay? Or from estimate items. Let's go to floor covering vinyl, AB. Let's change our code just to replace and go with the floor. Yes, we're going to calculate again just for the sake of it. Alright? For the sake of argument, look at that 51.53. Who's paying for the additional nearly 30 feet of waste? At this point, if you don't do anything to change that, it's you that's paying it. Alright? You see that I have a line item in here for remove and replace flooring, sheet goods. Come down and hit your inspection down here. And as soon as you do, it'll calculate, it'll separate your remove from your replace, and it'll calculate your flooring at 15% waste and add a note in here of what it is. Okay? That's an automatic system set up with Xactimate. 15% waste is standard across the board. However, 15% only gives you 59.26 instead of 78 feet, which is what you're actually going to need is 78. So if you look at the cost difference here, somebody's paying for that difference. But if you're not billing for it, you don't even know it, you're paying for that flooring and giving it to the customer at no charge. We're going to go to inspection. We're going to look at our issues that we have in this job. In this particular job, we have bathtub with a zero quantity in here, and it's questioning why. We're going to indicate why. I want it to show up on the sketch. But not calculate anything. Our next button to show required fields. It needs an estimator. So we're going to select myself. Hit the next button. See if you have a green check mark every time you do that. Our next button, we have everything is done. Our finish, and our inspection goes away. Let me show you, we're going to save and exit, but before I do, see this asterisk up here next to the estimate? That's an indication that you haven't saved since you've done something in the estimate. Hit your Control S or hit your disk here and save the estimate. When you save and exit, it's going to do the same thing, but when you're working in an estimate, save it often. If you see that asterisk up there, hit the save button. It'll save you lots of time and frustration from losing an estimate for a power failure or anything else. So our save and exit, our projects tab. Let's go to print. Let's look at. Alright, here's our job, and here's what's going to show us. It's going to show us how many hours we've got for each item. Okay? So we've got 1.85 hours, or $46. Labor burden is 18. So technically, you've got $46 and $18 to pay your people. Now, if you're calculating it just one on their labor, and you just want to show them that you've got $46 in labor, and say your hourly employees are less than what you're calculating in there, because to their team, you can tell them you got $46 to do this particular item. So $46, and if you're only making $12 an hour, then you've got 3.83 hours. Your labor burden is technically eaten up. You're going to pay that out regardless. But if you calculate your teams based on their wage with burden, which is the way that we do it, and you say that Kevin's wage with burden is $19.85 an hour, and he's got this much to do it, so you got 18 plus 46 is $64 divided by 19.21. He's got 3.33 hours to do that particular item. So he's got more time than what it's calculating here. Containment barrier, intent post, it's not calculating anything at all. Zippers, but it's going to give you these items. Okay, market conditions. Your labor rate here, $34.69 an hour. It's giving you all the information you need on an internal TAM, which is a time and material report. So it's calculating your time, your material, equipment. It's giving you all that put together. You have $78 for this. If If you roll down to the recap by category, it'll give you a breakdown on per category, not per item, on what you have in total for each item, based on the labor amount, the burden amount, material, equipment, market conditions, etc. We use this very often in auditing our claims to know whether or not we can do the job for that amount of money. You know, if you look at $90.27, can I get a crew to detach and reset that cabinet for that amount of money? If you look at that and base it on, well, I'm already going to be on site, so it's not like I have to include travel time for that particular item. But if it's something that I'm going to send out a subcontractor to do, or I'm sending out one individual from my crew to do that one item, you've got to budget for travel time and fuel expense, all of that, in order to do that particular item. So it just depends on how your crews are broken up, but evaluate that and make sure you're looking at the breakdown on your items so that you're not cheating yourself out of a bunch of labor or material for that matter. And we've seen how it can affect your overall budget if you miscalculate the flooring. So thanks very much. Hit subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.